Chapter 12. Wrong place at the wrong time. The TV hummed its dead signal like a dying insect. Brian sat frozen on the couch, his jaw locked, his body a coiled spring of exhaustion and regret. The crushed beer can in his hand leaked onto the carpet, but he didn't notice. The apartment smelled of sweat, dust, and something unspoken. His reflection in the dark TV screen watched him. It wasn't just glass. It was a stage. Mr. B, inside his head. You're sitting there like a statue at your own funeral, sunshine. Grab another drink. This part's worth staying awake for. Brian sighed through his teeth, dragging himself up. The refrigerator door groaned as if even it disapproved. 2 beers left. He grabbed both, setting one on the table, cracking the other open with a hiss that filled the silence. He sat back down. His eyes looked hollow in the flicker of the screen. Start talking, he muttered. Mr. B, grinning. Gladly. Let's rewind the tape, shall we? Remember those 2 gentlemen from outside the courthouse? The ones with the loud mouths and smaller brains? Brian's stomach twisted. Don't, Mr. B. Oh, don't what? Don't remember? Sorry, Bri. We don't get to cherry-pick memory anymore. You called me out. Now you sit through the goddamn rerun. The room darkened. Not like the lights turned off, but like reality itself dimmed. The static on the TV began to pulse, black and white melting into color, forming shapes, figures. Brian's eyes widened as the hum turned into laughter. 2 familiar voices, sneering, echoing through his skull. The nightmare. The world rippled. The couch dissolved. The floor gave way beneath him, and Brian fell, straight into memory that looked too animated to be real. He landed in a cartoon alley under a dripping sky of ink. Buildings leaned at impossible angles. Graffiti blinked, and puddles reflected distorted versions of his face. 2 caricatured men leaned against a brick wall, warped faces of the courthouse hecklers, eyes bulbous, teeth jagged and oversized. Man number 1 taunting, Hey, deadbeat! Lose your fucking kids again? Man number 2, laughing. He's talking to himself again. Psycho can't tell reality from his own pity party. Brian's lips trembled, but no words came. He blinked, and in that blink, his reflection stepped out of him. Mr. B emerged like a shadow unzipping itself, sharp-edged and smirking, cigarette ember glowing like an angry star. Mr. B, evening, gentlemen. You remember me? I'm that voice you hear when you finally realize you went too far, and it's too damn late to apologize. The alley twisted like wet paint. The men's laughter distorted, higher, meaner. Mr. B flicked his cigarette. The ember hit the ground. Boom! The world went insane. Color exploded in violent comic book flashes. Wham! Crack! Splat! One man went flying through a wall, leaving a perfect silhouette in red. The other's face stretched like rubber before snapping back with a cartoon pop that sprayed the bricks. Mr. B whirled a giant mallet from thin air, the words Karma Delivery stenciled on its side. Mr. B, now that's entertainment. He swung once. The alley bloomed in technicolor chaos, then silence. The world froze. The colors bled backward into gray. Mr. B looked at Brian through the smoke. Mr. B, you still pretending you're not me? The ground split beneath them, and Brian fell again. The awakening. He snapped upright on the couch, gasping. The TV's glow was normal again. Just white noise. The cartoon world was gone. His body felt heavy. His hands were trembling, but they weren't empty. The beer was still there, still cold, still half full. Jesus Christ, he whispered. What the hell was that? Mr. B, calmly. That, my friend, was a warm-up. The dream was a rehearsal. Now comes the live show. Brian blinked. What? Mr. B, you think that shit was just imagination? Nah, you just painted the truth pretty so you wouldn't vomit it back up. Let's look at what really happened. The hum of the TV deepened. The image on the screen flickered. Courthouse steps in daylight. Brian stared, transfixed, as his own figure walked into frame. Flashback. Courthouse steps. That day had been the end of everything. The courtroom smell, paper, sweat, hopelessness, still clung to him. Elise's seat had been empty. Her death had hollowed the world, and the judge's gavel just sealed the coffin. When the ruling came down, it was like being buried alive. His children, Javan, Tanaya, Tremais, gone, taken by a system that looked him in the eye and called him unfit for grieving too loudly. He stumbled outside, the sunlight blinding, cruel, and there they were, two smug bastards in cheap suits, leaning on the courthouse railing like vultures who just finished lunch. Man number one, watch where you're going, asshole. Man number two, look at this guy, another sad sack who thinks the world owes him a fucking break. Brian mumbled, sorry, but the words tasted like blood. Man number one, bet it was family court. They probably took his kids. Look at him, walking guilt trip. Their laughter chased him down the steps. Mr. B, inside. You gonna walk away from that, Bree? You think Elise would smile from heaven hearing you take that shit like a doormat? Brian, they're not worth it. Mr. B, they made her worth it. They made them worth it. And just like that, the leash snapped. The hunt. He followed them. Didn't plan to, but some part of him already knew where they lived. They walked like gods in a city made for mortals, stumbling through streets like their laughter could buy them immortality. Mr. B, left turn, fourth building, apartment 4B. Let's see if their jokes sound funny without an audience. The men entered their building still chuckling. Brian waited outside, motionless in the rain. Time folded. The city quieted around him until it was just breath and heartbeat. He crossed the street, the apartment. The door wasn't even locked. Cheap bastards. He pushed it open. Music played. Something obnoxious and loud. Whiskey stung the air. Man number one. Hey! Who the fuck are you? Brian didn't answer. His pulse was a drumbeat in his skull. Mr. B, inside. Let me drive. Something cracked inside his chest. A switch flipped. And when he looked up, Mr. B was already in the driver's seat. Mr. B, through him. You boys said some shit out there. Let's see if your lungs work this good when they're empty. He moved fast. The first man didn't even finish his curse before a fist collided with his jaw, splintering bone. The second came at him swinging a bottle. Mr. B ducked, elbowed him in the ribs, and shattered the bottle across his face. Mr. B, snarling, come on, heroes. Show me that tough guy energy now. The man tried to speak, but all that came out was a wheeze. Brian's reflection in the kitchen window looked horrified, trapped behind the glass as his body obeyed another master. The first man reached for a knife. Mr. B, mocking. Ooh, sharp toys. Love those. He stomped the man's wrist. Bones cracked like dry twigs. The scream echoed through the apartment, cut short by the wet sound of steel sliding through flesh. The second tried to crawl away. Mr. B caught him by the collar, jerked him up, and slammed his face through the coffee table. The glass exploded beneath him. Mr. B, laughing, don't tap out now, champ. You were so chatty outside. The knife fell silent. So did the men. Mr. B stood there breathing hard, shirt torn, hands red to the wrist. He rolled his neck, exhaled. Mr. B, low. Not my fault they couldn't handle a little fucking accountability. He took a pull from their whiskey bottle, spat it out, sneered. Mr. B, cheap shit for cheap people. Returned to reality. Brian jerked upright on the couch again, drenched in sweat, heart racing. The room around him was dim and ordinary. No blood, no knife, no bodies. Just him. He looked down. His hands were trembling, but the smell was still there. Copper and smoke, faint but real. Brian, hoarse. You followed them. You killed them. Mr. B, casually. Correction, we followed them. We finished the conversation they started. You just keep pretending we're separate when it's convenient. Brian buried his face in his palms. You're out of control. Mr. B, nah, sunshine. I'm the control you never had. Brian through clenched teeth. You're gonna get us killed. Mr. B, chuckling darkly. Already did. You just ain't buried yet. The laughter that followed wasn't just sound, it was possession. It filled the air, bounced off the walls, echoed in his chest until his heartbeat matched its rhythm. The TV flickered. The static formed a faint, smiling silhouette. And in that grin, Brian saw the truth. The nightmare wasn't the dream, it was the memory.